Welcome to the channel. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. So the reason you guys are seeing my face today is because I've got some exciting and very important news to share with you guys, and it's regarding the watch brand which I wanted to release. Now, a fun fact is that I released the initial video last year in November, and it's absolutely shocking to me that it's taken a whole year for us to get to this point. What I can confirm is that I have the watch here. It's in hand and it's around 98% complete. But before I show you that, I actually want to share the journey that has happened with this watch. So this is like a second version already. We made one major change, was the name. So the brand name is not HWC anymore, and I'll touch upon that and I'll show you that a little later on. So I want you guys to bear with me, get yourself a tea or coffee, because I really want to share the process in where we got to. So I want to actually show you the first samples of version 1 and share what my thoughts were, what are the changes that we made and why we made those changes, because I'm hoping it brings you guys a lot closer to the brand. You know, as you've seen me for 3 years on YouTube, I reviewed a lot of AliExpress stuff, I do micro brands, etc. And yeah, the watch passion is just going to evolve. So I also did modding for a year or so, and yeah, I think this is the logical next step, is to put my own signature, my own identity out there on a watch for people to enjoy. So I'm going to show you the first off samples, obviously talk about the delays, what happened, my feelings about them, what changes we made. Then I'll show you the new watch, the new brand, the new dials. We did change quite a lot. I mean, the case and bracelet thankfully was good, just very small changes on the bracelet which I'll cover towards the end of the video. So thank you guys for tuning in, watching, and you know, let's flip the camera and show you the first sample of HWC that came to me, which was around 6 months ago. So this is the first sample, and it's been an incredible journey, guys. You know, from receiving this first in hand, you know, I automatically started being very critical of it, and that's, I think, one of the cons of being a watch reviewer. You kind of hone in onto the smaller details. So with the version 2, I've had to swap out a few parts, so I've only got one sample, which is how it was the version 1. So the text just above the below the 12, sorry, HWC, it doesn't look too bad, to be fair. When you look at the renderings, you know, small things started to pop out at me. So I also had the red text 200 meters below the automatic, and what we found was it wasn't actually, you know, really visible on across all the colors. So it was a bit pointless. And once I kind of made a list of all the changes I wanted to make, I had a call with my business partner, sat down, went through them all, had a proper conversation, and this was the first conversation we had, believe it or not. And as you know, silly as it sounds, when we initially made the renderings and the, you know, the major design, we didn't get a chance to speak about the small points. You know, I'm extremely busy, and I've only gotten busier in my personal life, and so is my business partner. So it's one of those things, right? So I knew automatically not to rush this project, you know, just take our time with it, and ultimately it's just life and how things happen. So a major problem I saw with the dials already was the colors weren't close to the renderings. They seemed a bit washed out. A few shades were good, like the red isn't too bad. It's a sort of a maroony dark red. The blue was decent enough. Believe it or not, this is the grey fume, but it looks brown. Then we had that brown and gilt one, which you can just see how kind of faded it is in the center. I think the green, yeah, the green, while it looks okay in the watch, it just was too dark. So we end up scrapping the green anyway. And so we had to make quite a lot of changes, which meant a whole new set of dials. And you'll also see the handset. We wanted a top cap on the seconds hand, and we wanted brushed hands, but the factory gave us polished. I don't know why. And also, I don't know if you've spotted that seconds hand, that red is just far too big. It goes up too much on the seconds hand, and that really just started to bug me. So picture this, I've got the samples, you know, 6 months after the video. I've left it alone for 2-3 months, and then when I've had a chance to look at it, there's quite a lot of changes. Now that can be disheartening, and I did feel slightly disheartened. However, the meeting was very positive, you know, a lot of points to change. My business partner was really on board, and to be honest, this would not be possible without him in the picture. So even though he's a silent partner, I'm the face and I'm the guy talking. But yeah, it was a good joint effort. So a whole new set of dials and a new set of handsets, because we thought, let's try the brushed hands, let's see how they look. Also wanted to get the top cap seconds hand, and I wanted to change that. Now, in order to change that seconds hand, we have to remold, so that costs a bit more money. But in my opinion, it's worth it, right? These are the early stages. This is the time where you invest into R&D and just to get the right look, because it is, in my opinion, about the smaller details. But case-wise, extremely happy with it, right? Good brushing on there, really nice profile. I'll give you specs dimensions at the end. I want to keep you guys hanging around as much as I can. The crown, lovely shape, you know, nice crown guards. The case back, you know, with the brushing on there, just, you know, the normal information that you see on there. Of course, that's going to change when we get to it. The bracelet, I'll show you that on the other models, which I've got the newer dials in there. So let me now introduce the new watch, guys. Hope you guys are ready for it. It's going to have the new branding on there. I'm very excited, and I do hope it is received well. So here it is, the new brand, the first look at it. And the brand name we chose was Nautic, and it just came up for us, right? I think this was, again, a few weeks after the meeting. I was still worried about the name. Of course, I took the feedback that you guys gave on the initial video, and it was valuable feedback. Good few points made. I mean, a lot of people were for the HWC as well, but a couple of points were there that, look, it's going to potentially alienate quite a large part of the market. So Nautic should put your mind at ease. And of course, the name does widen the potential market. Now, instantly, what you can see, or you should be able to see, is that the color tone is slightly different. It's just a bit richer now. So if I compare the blues, now blues wasn't a really good one to compare because this blue wasn't too bad, but you can see it's just lighter in the center, and here it's just a richer blue, and you also got a bit of more smokiness around the edge of the dial. Of course, nice crisp clear printing. And the text just below the automatic at 6, we decided to go for white, which white is really visible across the board. Now we are going to make a small change for the full production, and that's going to be, you know, that caps lock M, we're going to put it to lowercase. I think a bit of an oversight, because it's quite difficult to see everything, right? Only when you get it in hand, then you notice different things. So that's going to be lowercase, and the WR is going to stay there just to kind of give it a bit more text. So yeah, that's here, and let me show you some of the other dial colors. So this is the brown, and the difference which you can see between the brown here and the one on the new brand Nautic is major, right? Day and night. This is a lot richer, a lot deeper tone, and of course with this one we also color matched the logo, so you've got Nautic in gold, and I believe that sets it off. I mean, this is one of my favorite ones, and I think in some of the polls I did after that initial video, this was also quite popular with the people watching. It just looks so much nicer. Now, my business partner gave me a bit of a surprise, so he introduced 2 new colors, and these colors look amazing. They really pop, and instantly when I saw the dials, I was like, yeah, that's the one to go for. So let me introduce the burnt orange. So you can't really have a dive watch without having a nice vibrant orange. This one really pops. It's quite deep, but also it's got that sort of dark orange look to it, and yeah, I really like how that looks. Of course, it's a bit of a summery vibe, but that's quite good. And then the last one, right, this one is possibly my next favorite. This is purple, and I'm really glad and happy with how we got the tone right. It's got a good depth to it, yeah, very rich as well, and I like that shade of purple. So that looks quite good, and yeah, against that black bezel, really nice to look at. Now, that being said, I'm still waiting for another 2 dials. So the red is going to be redone. I'm waiting for that to arrive, and once I get that together, I'll do another video to show you how that looks. And I can share with you the black dial. Just bear with me. I haven't got it assembled in a watch because I couldn't, because you know, I had a critical component I was missing. But this is another important change. So here we have the black dial. Now you'll notice there's a hole at the bottom. So again, following some feedback, it was like a 50-50 split between the no date and the date, guys, and I obviously really like no date watches. So what we decided to do is all the other dial colors are going to be no date and feature the NH38 movement, but just the black, you know, that tool-like black, we're going to give you guys a 6 o'clock date window. The date window on here, you can see it is beveled. I do prefer that over the frames, and it's going to be a matte black, so you know it's not going to have any glare. It's going to be quite legible, you know, with these large hour markers and those brushed or polished hands. I'll talk about the hand just next. So yeah, and I was assembling this, and then I found out, I mean, amateur mistake, I don't actually have the correct date wheel, because for a 6 o'clock date window the numbers need to be in a different orientation. So I've got those on order. As soon as I get those, hoping that I get that 6 o'clock date wheel with the same time as the red, so I can show you the other two colors. So yeah, I'm hoping we look after the rest of the audience here, giving people a date option. Of course, it's going to be color matched as well, and that, you know, if that works, maybe we can put that across to different colors as well. Let's talk a little bit about the handset. So we do have the brushed hands here, and I don't know if you can tell, but if you look at this orange one, the brushing is there. Now there does need to be a few slight improvements on the brushing, but the polished hands do stand out quite well, and I don't really mind them because the beveling is also present, and it's, you know, beveled to a really high quality there. So I like that. So what we've decided to do is use polished hands for the silver, because the brushing on the silver hands doesn't really make a difference. I mean, you can't really see it on wrist. So the brushing that we're going to stick to, so the only thing which is going to be brushed are the gold hands, because it's gold, it's a little bit more special. These are the hands that will have some of that brushing in there, and you kind of see them just a bit more. And yes, you'll also notice that second hand, you've got a smaller sort of accent on there, so that's just about right in comparison to that. I think that was just like a blob of red. It took too much off that arrow, and yeah, this is just the tip. Also, length is great, and the last bit, you can just see that cap on the second hand, which does finish it off beautifully. As I said, you know, in my reviews, this is what I want to put across to my watches, is something which I really like top cap second hands. It just does finish off the watch, and it's again all about the smaller details. Yes, so the bracelet is just a standard 3-link bracelet. Okay, got nice satin brushing on there, female end links, which is very important, even though the watch is quite compact, and I'll give you the dimensions at the end. We do have an on-the-fly adjustable clasp. So these are the changes which will happen in production when we change the brand name. So what you see here, Nautic, is going to be on the clasp, and it's also going to be on the case back. And you know, the case back, for example, is quite high quality. I do like how they've sort of debossed the pattern in there, or the logo, should I say. So yeah, that's going to, you know, come across. The on-the-fly adjustable clasp, standard clasp, right? I mean, it's not the most special one. It's one that just works, and I'm quite happy with it, with the beveled brushed sides and the rounded off edges on those twin pushers. So spec wise, I think it's quite complete. It covers everything you need to cover. On the end links, because the lugs are so short, we couldn't get drilled lugs, so we are hoping we can get quick release bars. And we've gone for thicker spring bars as well, so 1.6 millimeters, which really makes sure the end links fit properly. And you can see, you know, there's no real gapping issue there. I think the gap, I'm quite happy with that. And yeah, this is the case, guys. Let's have a quick look at the bezel. So the rotation, in all honesty, when you first get the watches, and when I first had the samples, they needed to be kind of worn in slightly, but once they are worn in, nice and clicky, and no back play as well. Of course, you can't be having back play, but yeah, quite a very nice click. Smooth rotation across the whole movement. I mean, this is the one I use the most, and that one's worn in nicely. And just listen to that, guys. So really happy with that. I think there's only one more change we're going to have on the bracelet. So we are going to put beveled edges on these links for the production version, beveled polished edges, so it kind of links up with that beveled polished edge just on those lugs. And I gotta say, I'm very impressed with the case. I mean, I've been a huge fan of the 50 fathoms case, as are many people, but those cases are massive, so I wanted to bring it down into a 39mm, and of course incorporate my love of Seiko watches. So we've gone for that classic dial. These are the, I think, the older SLA handset, you know, that paddle style hour hand. And then the reason I've chosen the Arrow second hand is, again, a nod to the BP. So a bit of a mix and match, but, you know, I don't think it's a homage in that sense. It looks quite different, something which isn't really there. And we do have the bracelet, and we've also got strap options. Now, just a quick note on the strap, guys. Because it's a smaller watch, I do acknowledge some of these straps are quite long, so these straps now are just slightly shorter from both ends, and it fits, you know, the smaller wristed guys much better. Now, I know all you big wristers out there probably, you know, turn your eyes away, but it's difficult to cater to everyone. And I'm not saying it will happen, but who knows, if this is successful in the future, we could even do a 40 or a 41mm version, just to cater for just, you know, more people out there. But I think this is perfect at 39mm. So I'm going to give you guys a full overview of this. Don't worry, once I get all the samples ready, I'll give you like a good review on this, and then we can start handing these watches out to YouTubers across the board, because it's not just my opinion that counts. Let's see if it is really good. Now, of course, because it's been so long, I gave one watch to a friend of mine. He had it for a couple of weeks. I've worn these for a while, so I've had my time to really spend with them and make the small changes I wanted to, and just really kind of gel with the watches. So let's give you just an overview of the specifications. So yes, it is a steel case. You've got a curved sapphire bezel insert. I'll drop in a quick lume shot. Now on the bezel insert, the lume is quite dull, and the supplier at the factory wanted to give us two different colors, C3 and BG. We've opted for C3, but of course for production, the lume is going to be much stronger on the bezel insert. But as you can see on the dial and hands, it's perfect. There's no reason to change that. You've got domed air coated glass. But this is a curved edge sapphire, so it gives it a slightly different look and feel to the crystal. Because the edges are curved, that minute track does give you sort of refraction around the edges. The movements will be Seiko NH38 and NH35 for the dated version, and it's got 200 meters of water resistance with a screw down crown, screw down case back. So I'm hoping I've covered all the specifications. Just one also, yes, we do have screw-in links on the bracelet. And in terms of dimensions, as I stated, 39 millimeters at the bezel, and I'm glad we made that investment to change it. Bang on 39 millimeters. Thickness, being NH35, just 13.5, and that is what we were aiming for. And with this style of case, it does look, just quite thick, but you saw on the wrist shot, it doesn't really wobble. There's no real imbalance, and it looks pretty good because of that case shape. Now, lug to lug is extremely compact at 45 millimeters, and that's one of the best things about it, because it's going to fit really well. And you've got a 20 millimeter lug width. So yeah, a year on, this is where we're at. Just a couple of things to do now before I've got all the samples ready, guys. And I've got to say a massive thank you to everyone, because I've had numerous people continuously message me, ask me about updates, and I've just felt bad because I've not had the time to do dedicated videos, keep you guys always up to date. But here we have it now. Nautic is ready to go in just a couple of weeks. Once we get everything in, get the other dial colors, I'll be reaching out to guys, reviewers, anybody who wants to check them out, let me know, and we can get a more of a objective, balanced opinion before we go into the Kickstarter and everything else. So again, like always, thoughts below, guys. Let me know what you think. So thanks to everyone for sticking around, listening to me waffle on. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.